do you do? Now this time, it's Russ, and thankfully there will be no crying, there will be no weeping, there will be no anger or emotional outbursts. Not that I did that. No, this video is strictly for entertainment, informational purposes. Now I know what you might be saying to yourself, Russell, the first video was boring. You almost cried, and all you told us was how pissed off you were that you waited this long to record. And you'd be right. That's exactly what I said. But, like I promised, I'm also devoting myself to giving you guys some positive information that I think you'll find useful, and as well kind of taper it in with a story. And today, it's a very, how do I put this delicately? I'm a little nervous because this is not your everyday subject matter. The thought occurred to me that the information I'm going to be providing you today could be the first of its kind. Especially for our generation, this information I'm about to provide you could be life-saving in the rare instances that you have to use it. It's like a survival thing where you'll only need to use it in absolute emergencies, but in case you do, you're going to be thanking me that you have this information.
Russ, I don't think what you have to say is very useful, and I don't know if I'm really wanting to hear what you have to say.
Well, you're gonna want to hear what I have to say because in case you ever find yourself in this situation, you're gonna be thanking me. Today, I want to talk to you about your phone. Yes, that's right. I want to talk to you about this beautiful little item that we carry with us all the time. Now, in today's technological age, we have these little devices with us everywhere we go. Like, everywhere we go. They have now become a part of us. This is probably, hopefully, someday what you're going to be watching this video on is your phone. The reason why I want to talk to you about cell phones today is because we use them for information all the time. Whether it's YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Tumblr, or Dipley. That's my greatest weakness. Hey, I like looking at lists that are irrelevant and I'm never ever going to find them useful, but they give me at least 5 minutes of pain-free distraction time. Okay? Stop judging me. But I wish to discuss with you an emergency that I found myself in the other day. I was at a public event, a public gathering, and this public gathering took place in a theater, a Cineplex theater. We had rented it for this event, and I had brought my kids and my wife with me. My 2-year-old was not having a very good day, and so as a responsible 21st century parent, Generation X or Millennial, whatever the heck category now I fit in, I did the logical thing. I gave him a dang phone to distract himself with. Because what else I'm going to do? Actually parent him and play with him? No. So my 2-year-old was acting up, and I gave him the phone and put on a Netflix movie, and I actually gave him to a caregiver, a friend of ours, who was able to take care of him for a little bit, because I had to use the little boy's room. Now, in the little boy's room, where I was, I sat down to do my business so that I could quickly finish up and go attend to my child and take him off the caregiver's hands. I realized that I had done what not many in my age group have done recently. I left my phone with my kid, and I was phoneless in the bathroom stall. Now, I know what you're thinking. And you're right. I was absolutely going ballistic. Oh my goodness, he was phoneless? In the bathroom? Oh my gosh, that means you're gonna have like 3 minutes of non-entertainment. However will he survive? However. So I figured that I'm not the first person to do this in today's day and age with all these smartphones, but I definitely want to make sure that I kind of trailblaze a path for people that if you ever find yourself in this position in the future, you can entertain yourself. That's right, folks. Today, Russell presents to you the top 5 things you can do in a bathroom stall when you don't have a phone. Title pending. I figured that if I can give you 5 go-to methods of distracting yourself while you're on the pooper and you don't have your phone in front of you, I have done my job today and I have saved the world. So let's begin with number 1. Number 1, Try to read and translate the graffiti on the walls. Now, this might be a no-brainer to you because if you're like me and you happen to not be looking at your phone while you're on the potty, you can't help but look around and try to read the nonsensical words and phrases that people have scribbled with a jackknife or a pen, or who knows if they're really devoted, a permanent marker on the walls of your stall. And sometimes these things are downright hilarious, and sometimes they're downright scandalous. Just skip the dirty ones. You don't really want to look at that stuff anyways, especially while you're doing your business. But the reason why this is important is because eventually you'll start actually seeing some conversations in your stall door. You might see a few words that people have put down as a joke, and then another line below it in like, what I always find is that someone leaves like a line like, Jerry stinks, or Jonathan was here, or your mother sucks, or whatever. Okay, and it's pretty old looking now because it was the first message. But then below it or around it, you'll see a response to said remark. It's almost like an archaic version of a Facebook timeline. You get to read it in your stall, and relive history that's happened right in that very space. You might be looking at me a little disgusted. Don't worry, like I said, you don't have to use this method all the time, but I think it's something that you'll find very handy. Read the stories, learn about your stall, learn about the people before you, and if you don't like that dialogue, pick another stall in the future. If you ever find yourself in a scenario where you don't have your phone, read the graffiti on your walls. Number 2. Now this one's a tricky one because it depends really upon the flooring of the establishment that you're using the washroom in. But if the flooring has a busy pattern to it, or it has like one of those old 80s style where they kind of have like the brown water lines and then like the beige white behind it, and there's a lot of squiggly patterns, sometimes you can actually find figures. You kind of equate looking at the floor and finding different shapes and figures as to like looking at the clouds. Use this app as an opportunity to look at the clouds in your bathroom. Seriously, look at the floor and try to see if you can find any characters, if you can find any faces, if you can find any words. I don't care if you think this is stupid. Like I said, if the graffiti ran out quickly or there's no graffiti at all, look at the floor and try to find different patterns. Look for art. I don't care. But sometimes the floor can be a healthy distraction. Numero 3. Guess the person beside you. Now, I want to be careful here. I don't mean to actually, inquire or make any noises to interrogate or investigate the person beside you. What I want you to do in a non-creepy way is I want you to inspect their shoes. You can learn a lot from people by their shoes. You've got the type of shoe, you've got the design of the shoe, you've got how big the foot is. You should be able to guess the person that's sitting in the stall beside you. Now, again, you have to use tact when you use this game. But like I said, I want you to be able to guess if they're a businessman, if it's a construction worker, if it's a young teenager, if it's a guy who you think is in his mid-40s, a guy who's in his teens, a guy who's retired. I want you to be able to use your detective skills based on the shoe. Heck, if you're feeling so adventurous, use the noises that they make in the others. Use your detective work to figure out who's sitting beside you. Now, you got to kind of gauge how you can figure out the person and if you're right, because there's no point in trying to guess or trying to use your detective skills and figuring out the person beside you if you can't see the result afterward. I don't know if maybe you want to be so daring as to try to look out the crack of your door after they leave the stall, or if you want to get out first, wash your hands and nonchalantly try to look behind you. I've typically been able to just luck out and look through the crack in the door and figure out their age range and figure out their attire and just see if I was even remotely close. See how good you get at that game. I don't, like I said, I don't encourage you to actually interact with the other people beside you to see if you're right. But again, just try to guess and see if you're right about your judgment of character based on their foot size. Remember, the bigger the foot, you thought I was going to be dirty. It could be that they're taller. I don't know. Numero cuatros. Play a song. I mean, look, you're in the bathroom. There's noises everywhere. People are grunting, coughing, trying to do their business in quiet. Why not make the best of a terrible situation? You don't have your phone anyways. No one's going to know who you are, which we often forget. You can, frick, man, let her rip. No one's going to know who you are anyways. You can walk out there. You might get a few awkward stares, but you hopefully will never see these people again. Play a song. I mean, just be on your lap. You just have to be like, just for example. Ole. You just hit your lap, your thighs, whatever. You just hit whatever body parts make good drum noises and do a little beat. Try to practice. Try to see how good you can get, how fast you can get. Can you stay on beat? Heck, sometimes if you're in the bathroom, there will be music playing. Just try to see if you can play along the beat. Heck, hum a few bars while you're tapping your thighs or your quads or something. Go nuts. No one's going to care, and that helps you keep the time going by. It's not a very exciting option, but it's definitely fun if you pick the right song. Number 5. Put on a theatrical play for your neighboring patrons. Like I said in the previous step, in the previous thing, no one's going to know who you are, no one's going to care, and they'll never remember you. But they might remember your performance during your bathroom break. You know, maybe you're like me and you've always desired the spotlight, or maybe you do not ever want to be caught in public doing public speaking or any public events. You want to keep to yourself. But I can guarantee that all of us have dreamt about being the star of our own movie at one time or another. This is your moment to shine. This is your moment to put on something that's great and glamorous, and again, leave them with a story that you would never believe that they could ever have in a bathroom. I want you to act something out. Pick a funky voice, pick a crazy voice, read a line from Shakespeare, recite a scripture, tell a joke with no punchline. I don't care what you do, but make a scene and make it happen. Maybe you could pretend that you have bees all over you and that you're psychotic and you feel like the walls are closing in. Make a stark raving mad scramble scream and start kicking the doors, hitting the side doors behind you. I don't know. You could recite The Godfather. Or you could even pretend you're on your phone. It's like reverse psychology because you don't even have your phone to begin with, but they don't know that. They don't know that. Strike up a conversation on your phone. Make it up. Maybe your girlfriend's breaking up with you. Maybe your dad just found out that you quit your job. Maybe your mom doesn't approve of your friends. Make something up. It's a one-way conversation. Your neighbors have no idea that there's not really a phone. All they can hear is your side of the story. Make it count. Now, the reason why this is step 5 is because this will be a pretty long bathroom break at this time for you to even get to this point. But like I said, if you've been there so long already, you have no phone, you've wasted every step, this is the one you want to end with. So there you go. There are my 5 tips, my 5 actions you can do to not be bored in a bathroom stall if you don't have your phone. Now, ladies, feel free to do the same thing here. This applies to all genders, age groups, and demographics. You do not have to feel excluded here. I just keep using guy references because that's my experience. I've never been in your bathroom, and I'm okay with that. But there's your 5. I hope that this helps you in those few emergency situations that you find when you don't have your cell phone to entertain you in a bathroom. And I hope that you can put in the comments any of your stories and see if any of these tips worked. So that's it for me for today. I hope you found this helpful, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much. Tip your waitresses.